For 400 years, the enslavement of Africans was defended from pulpits and in pamphlets by a story about a drunk man and his son. It is one of the strangest facts in the history of Christianity. The largest forced migration in human history leaned for its moral cover on 12 verses in the book of Genesis, and those verses do not say what the entire edifice claimed they said. This is the curse of Ham, and it is the clearest case in this whole series of a scripture being made to carry a crime it never named. Here is what the text actually says. After the flood, Noah plants a vineyard, gets drunk, and lies naked in his tent. His son Ham sees him and tells his brothers, who cover their father without looking. When Noah wakes, he pronounces a curse. And here is the thing every defender of slavery needed you not to notice. He does not curse Ham. He curses Ham's son. Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be. Read it again. The curse falls on Canaan. It is about servitude. And it says, this is not subtle. It is simply absent. Nothing whatsoever about race or Africa or skin color. Not a word. The text that justified the enslavement of millions of black Africans does not mention black people or Africa or color at all. So where did the racial doctrine come from? It was built over centuries by interpreters who needed it. As slavery took on a racial character, commentators crafted new claims onto the passage. That Ham was the ancestor of African peoples, that his sin had darkened his descendants' skin, that the curse of servitude was a permanent, heritable condition of blackness. None of this is in Genesis. All of it was read into Genesis by people for whom it was extraordinarily convenient. By the time of the American Slave Republic, the manufactured doctrine was everywhere. It had become, for many, simple common sense. The black man was the son of Ham, marked by God for bondage. A myth with no textual basis had hardened into a racial theology, with a continent in chains beneath it. The curse of Ham supplied the cosmic justification. The day-to-day theology of slavery rested on plainer texts. And here honesty requires a hard admission. On a flat, literal reading, the pro-slavery preachers had the easier argument. The Bible never abolishes slavery. It regulates it. The law of Moses gives rules for buying and inheriting slaves. And the New Testament, rather than condemning the institution, instructs the enslaved to obey. Slaves, obey your earthly masters. We say this plainly because the series demands it. The abolitionist had to argue from the spirit of the gospel. The enslaver could often just quote a verse. That is a damning fact about the book, and pretending otherwise is the apologist's move, not ours. Now the scale, documented with unusual precision, because the slavers kept ledgers. The transatlantic slave trade database, built from the shipping records themselves, counts roughly 12.5 million Africans loaded onto slave ships. About 10.7 million survived the Middle Passage to landfall in the Americas, which means on the order of 1.8 million people died, chained in the holds before they ever arrived. If you want to know how central this theology was, look at what institutions did to protect it. In 1845, American Baptists divided over a single question. Could a slaveholder be a missionary? The northern churches said no. The southern churches said yes, and walked out to form the Southern Baptist Convention, today the largest Protestant denomination in the United States, founded explicitly to defend the right of Christians to own human beings. To its credit, and we note it. The Southern Baptist Convention formally renounced this history in 1995, apologizing for its defense of slavery and racism. The apology is real. So is the century and a half it took. And here the rule cuts the other way, hard, because the easy anti-religious version of this story is also false. The Bible did not only enslave, it also freed. Or rather, people wielding it did both. The abolitionist movement was, to its core, a Christian movement. The Quakers, who declared slaveholding a sin, the Black Church, and formerly enslaved Christians like Frederick Douglass, who drew the sharpest possible line between, in his words, the Christianity of Christ and the Christianity of this land. So the honest verdict is not, Christianity caused slavery. It is worse and more interesting than that. The same book armed both the auctioneer and the abolitionist. And for 400 years, the auctioneer's reading was the more literal one. And it had a manufactured curse with no basis in the text, doing its heaviest lifting. So here is the receipt. What happened? The enslavement of Africans was justified by the curse of Ham, a racial doctrine read into a passage that curses Canaan, concerns servitude, and never mentions race. Plainer texts supplied the daily theology, and American churches split in 1845 to defend slaveholding. The spin. The Bible doesn't really endorse race slavery, and Christians led abolition. The rebuttal. Both true, and neither rescues the institution that blessed, regulated, and split itself to preserve it, on a curse that was never there. The curse of Ham is the purest specimen this series has found of its central claim, that the most dangerous thing in the world is a sacred text in the hands of someone who has already decided what he wants it to say. There was no mark on Ham. There was no curse on Africa. There were 12 verses about a drunk man and his grandson, and a civilization that needed them to mean something else. So, for 400 years, they did. A curse that was never written still fell on more people than almost any words in history.